Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another Open Labs. And today I want to talk about, briefly, I want to bring up a new feature that we've been working on. And let me share my screen. All right, can everyone see my screen properly?
Yes.
Just want to make sure. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to talk briefly a little bit about the top navigation. I have mentioned the top navigation before, but it's very good to get to know because this is one of our first things that a user interacts with as soon as they see our page. So it's important to understand it. Let's recap it a little bit, excuse me. And we're at the sample department. It's a little bit different from our department of sample. It's a new fresh version. So just everybody look up sample up here on your sites. Excuse me, if a couple of people are coming in. Let me take a minute to let them in. Okay, so everybody go to your list of sites and everyone should have access to the sample department. It's kind of a fresh new site we'll be working with going forward. We'll still probably be touching back on the department of sample, but this is a newer, fresher sample department one. So anyways, we were talking about this top navigation for those of you who just joined us right now. We're going to be going briefly about how to configure this a little bit further and a little bit more smarter. So we're looking at our homepage, right? Our index. In case you ever get lost, guys, you can always push site content to take you to the main directory. I have one more person joining us. Hi there. And in our main directory, I like to put things in order and then go from there. And we're looking at the homepage, but we could be looking at any other page. Okay, so now I want to see the regions because this is the easiest way to access our customizable things. So let's show regions up here on more, and in alphabetical order, it lists all the regions in your page. And we're hovering above the top menu area, what's called the top navigation region. When you touch it or you click inside this area, it opens up the area down here. You can explore and it tells you that it's being governed or that this format is applied to this particular region. Again, this is review stuff that we've done before, but it's worth repeating. When you click on it, you can see that here's our list of items that belong on that navigation menu. Let's go back and look at it again. And it has these 5 items that I customized on that top nav format. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Okay. Normally you have to do these yourself manually. When you put a new page, I have to come in here and put in the link to where that new page goes. But what we're starting to roll out, and I want to show you guys, is a different method of doing this. And I want you all to follow what I did and to go to that format that was being applied to the navigation menu and go to the folder where it's being housed in. So everybody, now that you've been looking at your top navigation format, let's go to the folder where those are being held. Now, if you have a recent site, we prepared an assets folder for you guys, and it'll be very convenient. You can find your various site assets in this folder. If you have an older version of a site, then that's the way you're going to get to your folder, is by going through the region, finding what was assigned to it, and finding the directory folder that housed those assets. Is everybody with me so far? All right, so I was just trying to get you all to find the appropriate folder where the assets belong. Now let's go back to the beginning. Let's open our home page, and we are going to change that region on our home page. There's two ways of doing it. I'm going to show you the easy way. So let's go to the edit. And instead of changing our content, we're going to change a configuration on this page. So we're going to move to this tab, and we're going to look for that region again, all the way down in the bottom. And you see that it's listed alphabetically, just like it was when we pushed the more. And at the very bottom, we find what's assigned to it. We're going to change this to another one. And the reason why I had you go look for that folder is because it's going to be in the same place. Browse. And on that same spot that we were just looking at, I'm going to look for the one that's called automatic. It's a different format. And I'm going to apply it to this page and submit that change. Now, the top navigation region is filled by a different format, and this format does different things. It automatically sorts everything that's on my site contents and puts them in folders and puts them in pages. This is going to be very, very convenient if you don't want to be worrying about manually changing your folder. Your menu. Now you can see that everything here is being put on the menu, so that everything that's on your general contents, you're going to have to keep organized and put in appropriate folders for this to show up properly. We have our news events folder, which is the blog, and it comes out right here. It finds which pages are in there and lists them. Excuse me. Media gallery too, whatever's in there, it lists it out. If Olivia made a folder and made a couple of pages, that folder will become a submenu and become pages. So as you can see, this is very, very convenient. If there is a page that's out here, like this one, it's going to be right here on the menu. And look, there's one over here. That's the very first one that you put in your order. So all of this will also obey that order. Very, very handy. Let's check out that order again. Click on site content. We click the order, and we can shuffle these around. If I want to have the blog be the very first thing people see, then I can move it up there. Do we have any questions so far? The names that are here are also being followed. And these are the display names. Whenever you click edit on a folder or page, the display, the title name is what's going to be followed. So if we just want to call this I change the title of that folder, and that same title will reflect on the top nav. Meet the staff. Okay, let's take it a couple of steps back, because not everybody has that top nav automatic asset. So if you don't have it, you have a couple of options. You can come over here to our sample department. Just look up sample. It's on here too, also on the Department of Sample. And you could look at the assets and images folder, and we have the top nav. Oh, it's not here. I'm going to drop it in here. So let's do that. Let's bring that asset over. Sample department. We look at our handy dandy assets folder, and I can right click it and push copy. I can right click from here too and copy it over. Since I had you all look at where your folders assets are held it'll probably appear here on recents, since we have all been looking through that folder. I looked at the Department of Sample folder, so that's where I'm going to take it to. Department of Sample, our old working website. Let's choose to move it over there. It even tells me successful, view the copied asset, and it takes me over to where it went. Okay, so I went to the main folder. No big deal. I can just pick it up and drop it off wherever I need it. I want it to reside right there. So let's do that one more time. We are in our old Department of Sample, guys. Let's go to the main directory, and let's say I want to change another page, the interior page. I have an interior page, and I want this the navigation on this interior page to be automatic. I'm going to go to the configure. I'm going to go all the way down here to the top navigation, and I'm going to find that asset that I had just dropped off, which is right here, top nav automatic. And that's what I want. Boop, it tells me this page now has the top navigation automatic format applied to that region. And it has effectively changed it. You can verify right here when you show the regions, and you see that now you have, oh, why does it say modified? Did I not change it? Thought I did. Well, it's a good thing to verify. Yeah, I definitely changed it. Yes, there it is, top nav automatic. Okay, so real quick, what I did is I brought that format over from another site, sites that we all have access to, the sample site, and copied it over from here to my own. Okay, we're going to look at how that automatic navigation works real quickly, and a little tip in case you don't want a certain folder or a certain page to show up on your menu. Okay, so right now it's automatically set up to put everything here. Now you'll also notice that these things are not listed, these system files. Well, that's great because we don't want them listed. And it's quite simply because they don't have titles. It is kind of a hack, but everything will be put up here that is titled. So, and to show you an example, I'm going to show you this titled folder that is over here that has a couple of pages in here. Let's go to that folder. And in here, there's a couple of pages. Let's see the first one. Okay, very simple page with a sidebar menu. If you remember, this sidebar menu is automatic, and the principle is the same because when you put an auto-generated menu, it picks up everything in this directory and puts it in the order that you had also chosen. So this page, titled page, and appropriately has a title, is being sorted right here. Let's go to the untitled page. And what we're going to do is we're going to exempt this one from being listed. So, and all we got to do is remove that title. I'm going to submit that. Now on the sidebar, you're going to notice something a little funny. This one is there, and so is the untitled one, because technically the title is blank. So it is there. The sidebar menu is harder to fool. But we're going to go back to our main, the one that we had configured earlier, the automatic top navigation, and we'll see that that one, we totally swindled that one. So our untitled page is not listed. In fact, we could do that to the whole folder. We can go to edit and we can remove the title of the whole folder. Submit. And now the automatic navigation is not going to list it there. So that's a good way of hiding something that you don't want to show up but is actually published. Cascade doesn't want us to have pages, and this is actually a good practice, to have pages that are not being published, because if you don't want to show it in the public, then you shouldn't really have it. You should just delete the page. But I'm giving you a workaround to eliminate certain pages from being listed. And you might wonder, well, I removed the title from that subdirectory. I'm sorry, from that directory, from that folder. So what is it called now if I remove the title and the display? Well, it follows its file name, its URL name, this name, the name that you initially gave this folder when you created it. When you create a folder or any asset, you have to give it a name, and this is the file name. It's an internal named asset, but this is what it's referred to as. This is what your user would see, or this is what you can refer to it as. So no matter what I title it, its name is gonna remain the same. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So if I put stuff in here in my special folder that I don't want it to be listed when it comes time for publishing, I'll remove the title, and it retains the original name of the file that I'd given it, which was just something very generic. Yeah, whatever's going to be in there. Okay, do we have any questions about the top navigation folder? We're going to be moving on. Excellent.